Yeah, and the central banks and the Federal Reserves and all of them who can print the money and control it. Well, basically the Federal Reserve. Like that's why it's the whole thing about central banks, where like basically you have like maybe I don't know if there's like two countries at this point that don't have central banks. It's because like central banks are what controls the world. Money controls the world, and the central banks are the ones who basically decide how. Because I mentioned that a few days ago, but it's like everything is a business today. And what I mean by that is, when like the COVID thing happened and whatever, it's like trust the doctors. Like it doesn't matter what the doctors say because at the end of the day, what you hear on the media and what the doctors say is like a hospital and similar. A hospital isn't led by doctors. A hospital is led by money. It's led by businessmen and it's led by people who are trying to keep the hospital working as a business. So no matter how good of a doctor you have in some place, like you can have the best hospital in the world as far as like doctors go, but it's like in Doctor House at the end of the day to some extent. Like most of them, I think all of them, like all of them are connected to money. Like all of them need financing. So like yeah, like no matter what you do, at the end of the day, everything today is a business. And if it's a poor business, exactly, exactly. Thing is, like if it's a poor business, it's gonna be shut down. So then, like, whenever like you hear anything, you can't really trust it unless you know why it was that way. So, like, usually what that means is like, why were people paid or incentivized to do something? Like, for example, hospitals were paid to put people on like respirators and like breathing. What do you call them? Like when COVID was hitting. Like hospitals were incentivized by being paid to diagnose people with having COVID and to also put them on like those oxygen, not oxygen, but like breathing machines, whatever they're called, respirators. I think I'm not sure. I'm confusing them with Serbian. Uh, so yeah, what do you get at that point? You get a hospital which is gonna make much less money than another hospital if they don't basically like use those. Like if they don't diagnose people with COVID, they're not gonna make as much money as the other hospitals. So you like incentivize hospitals to basically like do something which may or may not be actually true. Like for example, even if COVID didn't exist and if it was just the normal cold, if hospitals were given tests, which are like PCR tests, which like then you have to go into it like what PCR tests are and everything. But like I'm just saying, in theory, like it's super easy because like people are about some things like that. Like it's hard to like have some things controlled that way with everyone being silent or this or that. I'm just saying, in theory, it's super easy to fake something. For example, like COVID. I'm not saying it's fake. I'm saying like it could be. Because all you need to do is incentivize hospitals to do a certain thing. Like use certain things, like use false tests, use bad tests, say certain things, test for certain things, and you get completely wrong statistics. That's how statistics are wrong all the fucking time. Exactly. Exactly what you're saying. Like, it's also why statistics are very hard to grasp with a lot of things. It's like, if you, like, it's really hard to know things without following the trail of both money and like everything else involved in it. Because there's so many things that have been done in the past where let's say someone says also like trust the research, and like I trust research much more than I trust like anything else, including doctors. But what's the thing with research? It also really depends on how it's done, and it's not even the fault of researchers or doctors or whatever. Because what happens is like a rich guy can come and pay researchers, because researchers need money, to do a certain research, but he might pay them to do it in a certain way with certain parameters. Let me give you an example. We can say today that through some statistics, people live much longer and live much healthier lives than they ever have in the past. But if you look at it from another angle, that might be completely skew the data, because how are you working that data out? Like, one of the things that, like, you can phrase it in such a way that it seems that, like, it's only because of, like, good healthcare and good medicine and, like, better quality of life overall. But, like, what you can do with statistics is, like, you can just tell researchers to, like, find a correlation between, like, you know, like, technology, not technology, but, like, let's say, time passing and, like, basically, like, doctors getting supposedly better because, like, hospitals and everything are more advanced, and, like, we have more technological advances in the field as well. So, like, you find correlation between that and the passage of time. And then you say, like, oh, people are living longer, for example. And then that means that, like, drugs and this and that are, like, better. But then if you think of it in another way, and you realize that, like, technology improved in ways that have nothing to do with medicine. For example, we have electricity, we have houses. And, like, if you think about it, like, what's a poor guy gonna do 100 years ago without electricity and, like, a proper house, which is literally technology and has nothing to do with medicine? He catches a cold. He has to, like, start a fire. He can't keep himself as warm. He has to, like, go to, like, possibly hunting or something. He can't go to a store like today. Like, it has, like, just because there's a correlation between something doesn't even mean that the researcher did something wrong if you give him certain parameters which he can't, like, you know, he can prove a correlation, but the correlation by itself doesn't mean that it has anything to do with it. It just means that, like, those two things correlate in the sense of, like, oh, they're growing at the same time, but they might be growing because of something completely different. In this case, technology. Like, because of the advances in technology, we get better tools for, like, operating on people and higher success with operations and shit like that, but we also get possibly longer lifespan of people, because, like, people can actually stay sick in their homes with heat instead of having to be outside in the fucking rain looking for fucking foods or working the fields or whatever. Like, it's hard to exclude certain things from statistics when you're working on it, is what I'm trying to say. So the data is really skewed, and then, like, when someone just comes and, like, yeah, this is proven to be because of that, it really doesn't have to be. Yeah, I 100% agree with you on that. Wait, though. Wait, though. Wait, though.